I'm seeing a countdown. It says, it said 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. There's Tom. What's going on today, Tom?
I ended the countdown a little bit early because we're running a little bit. I was running a little bit behind. I shouldn't say we. It was definitely me. I was the one running behind today. Trying to squeeze my run in before we did this. So I literally like walked in the door, came right to my office, turned everything on, and here we are. Here we are. And tomorrow is every eater's favorite holiday, right? Turkey Day. So that's the subject, because what else could we possibly talk about, right? Other than what we're thankful for, gratitude, right? I mean, like you have to. It's Thanksgiving tomorrow, right? Like, how could we talk about anything else? So I'm just thinking about what I'm grateful for today. That's what's on my head.
Okay, and we could do it 1,000 ways. Anybody that wants to flash, anybody that comes up here, you can be grateful for a person, you can be grateful for business, you can be grateful for the stuffing. We will go wherever people want to go today. I'm a stuffing guy. I'm a stuffing guy. We got a whoop whoop from somebody. Yeah. Unless
I'm
Tom.
gonna
Software.
can I can I throw something in there, Dom? I would love to hear from people, not just what they're thankful for, but also like if there are any sort of like fun or funny like family traditions around Thanksgiving that they really enjoy. We don't really have one. Kind of have one for Thanksgiving. The one that I'm thinking of that jumps to mind is actually a Christmas tradition in my family. But yeah. So any fun, funny, silly, weird, whatever traditions, family traditions that are around Thanksgiving, I'd love to hear those too, because I think those could be fun to talk
Tom,
about.
I'm gonna jump in. It's Satva. Dominic, cool. So mine's gonna be a nuanced share. I'm thankful for the memories growing up, going out in the snow back when we used to have a lot of it. We would literally wait for the snow plows to come, and we would push all of the snow onto one. They would push all the snow onto the side, and we'd build igloos inside of there. We'd put candles inside of there. We'd make a little fort. The same on my grandfather's land. He would make massive snow piles when the snow would come, and we'd go over there and we'd just dig this entire fort out. We would just spend hours out there, and we'd put candles in there. And it was just the best, and it was so much fun, just so much fun. That's what comes. I wanted to share that.
Satva, I love making igloos. I don't know how many people in this room have made igloos out of snow. If you can, clap your hands. Make if you've made an igloo out of snow. This might be a Pennsylvania northern type thing. There we go. Satva, when you make an igloo out of snow, I go like giant pile of snow and then I dig out from under the igloo. Like, so me and my kids will dig out, or me and my buddies would go, we'd have like 6 feet of snow and then we would start digging out in the snow. Is that how you built your
Yeah,
igloo?
we did it both ways, Dominic. So it would get so high, we would tunnel until it would collapse.
Yes.
Sometimes it would just, yes, and we'd make these massive tunnels like a gopher, and we'd pop out, and it was just magical. It still is, but we don't get that much snow.
Love
Not
it,
anymore.
man. Okay, let's talk. Let's keep this going. Tom, you had good ideas here, and we were thinking along the same straight, grateful, whatever it is. I mean, if it's media, something like that, hey, we do talk about that stuff, so we can go that route. Satva, you made me think of something. I remember uh, my best Thanksgivings. My Uncle Wes and Aunt Rose, they lived in a trailer, and we used to go there for Thanksgiving. And my dad had 9 brothers and sisters, and when we went to my Uncle Wes's and Aunt Rose's, you couldn't even move from one side of the table to the other because they had to line these tables with like 20 people up the whole way across their trailer. And so you would sit there on one side of the table for like 4 hours because there was no way you were going to ask like your uncles and aunts to move so you could get around and stuff. And they were some of the best Thanksgivings I've ever had. And I'm so grateful for those times back in the day when we sit there and hearing them tell their stories and things like that. And it wasn't about the beauty of the location. It wasn't about being on some mountain somewhere. It wasn't about how much money anybody spent. It was about that day with family, and it was magical. And to think, I'm 44. I'm telling the truth about something. So I'm 44. To think in all these years, man, to go back to think when I was 13, sitting at Uncle Wes's, and that was Thanksgiving to me. So, okay, Johnny, man, if you want to give us something you're grateful for, then we got Johnny, Dr. Tachi, Julie, Deshaun, Marcella, Kevin, Jay's in the house, Prof T. Anybody that wants to come up, flash your mic. We appreciate you guys. You coming, hanging out here every periodically over the last year, 2 years, whatever it's been, man. We're grateful for each of you making this room what it is. So Johnny, man, Johnny's got a new background too. His beard's red as can be today. Johnny, what's happening?
Oh man, I am in the middle of healthcare.gov open enrollment. My day job is managing a small boutique insurance agency for the music industry. And we've got about 3,000 people to talk to in a 6-week period. So and that's how it's been for me for the last almost 20 years. This time of year is just go, 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 underwater. So when it comes to Thanksgiving, I am just really grateful to have a couple of days of rest. And I won't do anything the next 3 days. I will be completely immobile and unproductive. And I'm okay with that.
I hear you, Johnny. Man, I spent 9 years in insurance. Those end of the years, I get it. Where you do we did so much of our business and on 1/1 and 4/1, and then the rest of the year I just wandered around. So, I hear you, my friend. Dr. Tachi, stick around. Dr. Tachi, we're talking gratefulness. Tom wanted to know he said, we got to do it. Anything you're grateful for, we want to hear it. So let's hear it, Dr. Tachi.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Gosh, there's a lot to be grateful for. Grateful to just be. How about that? Just to be. And to have the opportunity to do different things, like be in this room. Definitely grateful for spaces like this. And I mean, I will take it to the entire thing with social media, even though people find the problems with social media often. I think they provide a tremendous opportunity to connect in ways we did not before, aside from business, on personal levels as well. So I'm thankful for being and thankful for platforms like this that allow us to express ourselves. And I'm complete.
Dr. Tachi, that was beautiful. And if anybody wants to weigh in, think about that. There is so much good, the connection, being able to share a picture with a friend you haven't seen in a while, that grandparents can see their grandchildren, that Zoom cameras make people be in your room where you can see, oh, mother. I remember when, I'll tell you something. So over COVID, my mom has Alzheimer's and she was in a nursing home. And we were locked out of the nursing home for really like 2 years, and we had to go look in through the window and through the screens, and it sucked. But imagine technology we were able to like Zoom with my mom and see, hey, she is safe. And so I sometimes, and I know people in this room, Dr. Tachi, you sent me somewhere where I want to go, and I'm thankful that you sent me there. So many people want to pick out the bad and everything, point out every flaw, point out the flaw in the country, point out the flaw with this person, that person, with technology. How about instead we talk about the good of some of these things? And if we focused on the good, like Dr. Tachi just did, wow, this is pretty amazing. Look, Clubhouse. I see black, white, brown, all these different colors. Johnny's red beard in this room right now. That seems pretty good to me. You could talk about the bad. Well, let's talk about the good. People from all over the country, all over the globe, right here talking about what they're great. We got a buzzer. Yeah.
That's
What they're great.
Satva.
Safa's got he's got, what do you call those things
I
when you
had
got,
to. It's a celebratory moment.
yeah, celebratory moment. So, okay, let's keep rolling it. Prof T, what'd you want to say? Go on. Then we're going to hit Julie. Go on, Prof T.
Oh, no, good morning. I'll defer to Julie. I just wanted to say, Satva, good to see you. Love your sound effects.
You too,
Great
Prof
room.
T.
Love you, buddy. I'll wait my turn. I just wanted to say hi to Satva. Thanks.
By the way, Dom, I always love how you say you're going to hit Julie. We're going to hit Julie.
Hey, I'm working. I will now in 2023. I won't. That is going to be out
It's
of
funny.
my vocabulary. Okay,
Kill the
it's out.
babies.
It's
Smurfs,
out. It's
hit
out.
Julie.
Okay, hit Julie. Go on.
Dr. Tachi's turn.
Dr. Chachi was
No.
already dropping knowledge.
I just went.
She did. I guess I love hearing her over and over.
That's
so.
true. Okay, we're Dr. Chachi, because Julie said it, you have to go again. Go on, Dr. Chachi.
Yay. Okay, so also, well, let me add to that, to what I said, in addition to being thankful for being and platforms like this and social spaces that allow us to connect. I'll add, when I was in graduate school, and anybody who's gone to grad school or even done a research paper or project, you'll know that when you're doing your hypothesis often, or when you're doing your research question, the way you have to phrase it is positively. So instead of looking for what is not, you are supposed to look for what is. So I think that's a lesson that we can apply here as well, that we can stop looking for what is not and appreciate what is. So I release the mic.
Hold on, I got to jump in. One thing, and this is not to at all, because I 100% agree with what you just said, Dr. Tachi. But the one thing we didn't hear is we didn't hear a fun, funny, silly, favorite, whatever kind of family tradition or holiday tradition. So I'd love for you to share something along those lines if you have one.
Okay, so this is, well, I don't have one really, because here's the thing. Usually, especially with immigrants to this country, and my parents, are immigrants, they don't quite understand some of the holidays, so they didn't quite get this one. So we just did nothing. It's the same thing. For some reason, they latched on to Halloween. They made sure we latched on to that. But with Thanksgiving, that's not something we really celebrated per se. So if somebody wanted us to come over, like our mother would allow us to go there, whatever, because we weren't really doing anything. So, and that's not necessarily all immigrants, because I think by and large, many immigrants will come to this country and try to embrace many of the traditions that are here to feel more American, or to fit in. But my parents were like, "No, there's jollof rice in the fridge, so help yourself."
I just got this like mental image of a young Dr. Tachi, or Dr. Tachi as as a youngster, as a child, like looking up to your parents and saying, what is Thanksgiving all about? And them going, I don't know, there's leftovers in the fridge.
Exactly.
Amazing. See, that's a fun, funny family story. I love it.
And Dr. Tachi, if you want to adopt any of the things that you hear, that if you want to make igloos like Satva or anything else, just rest like Johnny. Now you can pick up on some of these things that other people are saying. Maybe you find one. Maybe Julie has one for you. Julie, Thanksgiving fact, something you're grateful for, weird story, have at it.
Thanksgiving fact. I'm not as amusing as you guys are, but funny story. Every holiday, my parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles, they would make all the kids perform or sing. And if anyone's heard me sing, that's pretty funny. But and I just want to make mention, one of our friends from this room, Charlie Cifarelli, it can be a point of just being grateful that we can walk, that we have our health, because one day he was 100% great. The next day he had I would say, a massive stroke and can't walk and has paralysis. So we should all be grateful that we're able to be here. And I'm grateful for my friends here. Oh, I want to say hi to my friend, Detective Chris Anderson. He has an amazing new podcast called Crime and Cookie Juice. It is like blowing up the charts. It's unbelievable to be part of something that is so amazing. So thanks. Appreciate you all. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, thank you, Julie, and make sure you message Charlie as well. Spoke with him a couple times. If you can, message our buddy. He could use some love. And Julie's work.
I invited him into the room. I'm like, this would be good for him to be
Yeah,
here.
right. And Julie, you might get a message from Julie on that kind of stuff. So follow up with her if you got that message. Okay, and that's what I'll say about it. How's that?
That's all good. And Kevin Donaldson is like heading the charge here. So
Kevin, thank you. Kevin, I sent Julie something the other day. Good. Go on. Kevin, would you want to say something about that?
Well, I'm grateful for a couple of good relationships that I made in Clubhouse here. Julie and I have been speaking more often recently because of Charlie, trying to lift his spirits, because that's what this is about, right? It's about getting together. It's about lifting each other up, not putting each other down. And it's a very rare thing in the world that you have such good friends. And Charlie has been a very, very dear friend of mine. I had the opportunity to go see him, and although the drive sucked, I didn't complain one bit, because I walked in there and he was having difficulty walking. So if you want to know what I'm grateful for this season, I'm grateful for the friends that I have and the friends that I'm about to make.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for all of that, my man. And thanks for the kind words about Chuckles, too. I got to spend some time with him, too. We had lunch, walked around Penn State. Great guy. Deshaun, man, what are you grateful for? You got an interesting Thanksgiving tradition you guys are doing. What do you, let's say you have a duck instead of a turkey. What, you eat fish. What do you got going on, Deshaun?
So one, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful just for having my family and having my grandma. And so if a lot of y'all don't know, my adopted mother, Julie Loken.
That's how old I am. I can be his mother. Just saying. But Deshaun's awesome.
And so I'm definitely grateful for all of that. And I'm grateful for everyone that has poured into me this year. This hasn't been the easiest year, but I'm definitely grateful for everyone that has poured into me. As far as funny traditions for Thanksgiving, I would have to say I don't know if it's so much as funny.
You could give us. It doesn't have to be funny. Go on.
I don't know if it's funny as much as it could be. As much as it could be traumatizing to some people. So, as a family, this is almost any holiday, but it definitely happens more on Thanksgiving. We'll literally like sit down after we've ate, and we will crack jokes on each other. And as it starts to get darker, I'm not gonna lie, I do drink, and so does the rest of my family. And so, like, we get to the point where we're dancing, and if you've ever seen me dance, you know I have. Let's just say Carlton Banks has more rhythm than I do. So I have two left feet. So seeing me dance, you know something's wrong. And like the whole family would get together and start doing the electric slide, the cha-cha slide, and everything else. Um, and then they'll go to some oldies, and like I call them, what they call them oldies, I call it classic, the Temptations and everything. And I will like start um, I would get up and like start singing along with the Temptations and everything. So, and they'll video record me. So that's something that kind of that we do every year. I'm definitely thankful for those memories that we can make as well, even though they come back and haunt me every year.
Thank you, Deshaun. It's interesting. You and Julie both have to have some kind of performance on Thanksgiving. How traumatizing.
It is traumatizing for my family, but I don't do it anymore. Let's just be clear.
Hey, you want to know something traumatizing that I had? Sometimes they say, and I'll clean this up. Sometimes the night before Thanksgiving is a night where people indulge in a lot of frosty beverages and things like that. So I may have partaken in that a few times and I usually make turkeys and things like that. So a few years ago, I started making my son pull out the gizzard of the turkey late at night because I was not able to perform that task because my stomach didn't agree with me that time of day. So now my son, the tradition is I get my son, who's now going on 17. He always pulls out the gizzard of the turkey and there's giblets. And so why is the middle so frozen all the time, where like he has to get in there and like hit it with a ice pick or whatever, but to get that bag of insides of the turkey out, that is his job every year. Go on, Tom, you had something to say.
I was going to say it's that frozen because you haven't fully defrosted it yet. So just, give it a little bit more time in the fridge. It'll defrost, and then you'll be able to get that stuff out. The other trick is throw it in a bucket of water, and then change the water every couple of hours, and it'll defrost it a lot faster. Just because water is a better conductor of heat, and so it'll pull heat into the bird and yeah, defrost a lot faster. But yeah, it's because it's still frozen. That's why.
Potable water. Yep, that's how you do it faster. Yep, can't be too hot. You don't want to put it in the hot water.
Oh no, just cold water out of the tap will do it. Cold water out of
Yeah.
the tap will do it. Yep, don't put it in hot water because then you're going to raise it to a temperature where bacteria can get happy. So just cold water out of the tap.
Yeah, you'll start cooking the poor thing. Okay, John, man, you got any strange traditions, unique? What are you grateful for, brother? Down in you're in Florida, right, John?
I'm in Florida, so I'm grateful there's no snow and no snow igloo building.
Have
None.
you ever made an igloo, John?
We never had enough snow to make an igloo. We did
Oh,
our best
that's
to make
sad.
snowmen in Maryland and Virginia, and when I was in Jersey, it was very, very little. So very quickly, I'll go for what I'm grateful for. Number one is the absence of drama and trauma and violence in my life is huge. As a retired police, it's a big benefit. Grateful for my wife, my daughters, radio show, podcast, and an opportunity to always do good things and good health. One family tradition I thought of, and this may sound morbid at first, but it's not. My father, may he rest in peace. We used to say to him, he's a great guy. We were kids, we'd say to him, didn't matter what holiday it was, Father's Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthday, whatever it was, Dad, what do you want for the holiday? And he'd always say, and he had a very calm demeanor, he'd always say, for you kids not to ruin the GD holiday. That's what he'd say. And he never, ever, ever got what he wanted. I'll tell you what, I miss that guy. So he's a great guy, and I'm very fortunate guy. So I'm done. Thank you all.
Thanks, John. We appreciate you, man, and we love the no drama. John's a straight shooter too, and I really feel that from John. I've never been what have we known each other a year and a half? I feel like I've never been around John where there's any drama. Maybe it's the goatee and that he looks tough, and people just don't want to bring drama his way. But it's definitely a no drama zone. So thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Prof T, man, the grid system. What are you thankful for? What unique, we could say funny, we could say unique holiday traditions you got, or just holiday traditions that you love in general. Go on.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. It is a beautiful sunny day here, a little chilly in Philly, but beautiful. I'm thankful I was able to do my power walk and tap into my positive affirmations while I'm walking and talking and meditating. So two things. I'll just tell you what I'm grateful for, and then a funny story, quick story. Grateful. My son was recently nominated and won the National Valor Award. So he's going to be honored. My son is a police officer, for those of you who may or may not know, and he saved a young man's life last year around this time, I think. At any rate, he's going to be honored at a black tie affair, and I'm very proud of him. So someone put his name in, and he received the award. So it's a big thing in the Philly area, Center City, big event. So I'm grateful for that.
Hey, Prof T,
Yep.
I want to interrupt one because I think we need to pause. And if you briefly would tell us the story about your son who did something so honorable, I think we need to hear that. Let's salute this gentleman.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So my son is a police officer in an area here in Philly, suburban area, and there was a call he received that a young man had been shot. And when he arrived on scene, the young man, 17-year-old, was shot in the abdomen, and my son has what they call a trauma bag. Now, you have to understand that the police department where he is doesn't have any benefits. He's still considered part-time, even though he works 36, 37, 38 hours a week. That's how they play our officers here. And they don't supply them with anything. So everything's on them. So my son has created his own trauma bag with his own money. And he was able to apply pressure, put on some things. John Jay, actually, I believe my son was on your show. And so my son saved his life until the paramedics arrived. So he has been receiving accolades and awards, and I'm very proud of him. So it went to his township, up to the county, and now the state of Pennsylvania recognized him, and now it's a national award. So you never underestimate 1 minute can change your life. So I'm grateful. The young man's family was grateful. And so that was the story in a nutshell. Thanks for allowing me to share that.
It's beautiful, Prof T. And you seemed you were going to start something else, and I did rudely interrupt, but I thought we needed to share that story. But I think you were going to share another tradition.
Yep. So, well, please keep my son in your prayers, as we do with all law enforcement. I'm actually the president of our county Law Enforcement Chaplains Association, first woman president ever. Yay! So we do serve and pray for and donate and help raise money for our first responders in our county. So, funny story. Oh, I have so many, because even though I'm Italian, truth be told, I have the fastest fingers in the state and I order out a lot. Now, with that said, one year I cooked the turkey with the bag in it. Swore it wasn't in there. And of course, one of my family members, as they were digging in, realized that the bag was still in the bird. Gross. Another funny story is, speaking of alcohol, who doesn't like martinis? So I had been soaking some of the olives with some gin, which I don't drink gin anymore. Bah. My nephew, who was underage, decided that he wanted some olives and went in and started eating some olives. And I didn't realize he started eating the wrong olives. So that is something I learned never to do, or clearly mark your jar of olives. With that said, this is Prof T. Love you all. And you know what? I want to land with this, if I may. I don't want to hog up the mic. Dominick, my mom died last year from Alzheimer's. And then my dad was in the hospital right after she died on Thanksgiving Day. He didn't feel good. My sister gave him a COVID test. He had COVID. He was in the hospital for 8 days, and they wouldn't let me in. They had my dad locked in a room, 86 years old. He couldn't hear because they wouldn't let me bring his hearing aid. And they wouldn't let me in. Make a long story short, I'm grateful for FaceTime, because I begged, pleaded. I went up there. One would say the next step was police escorting me out. But I was able to at least coerce one of the nurses to let me FaceTime my dad so he could see my face. With all that said, my dad subsequently died from COVID on December 25th. It was not an easy way to pass away during COVID. With that said, thank you. Love you all. God bless you. Prof T,
Love
over
you,
and out.
Prof T.
Thank you, Prof T. Thank you, Satva. And hopefully, as we hit into this 2023, that maybe some of that pain of COVID and stuff is behind us, and we're getting past it as a whole collective, and hopefully we can see some of our families, and hopefully each of you get a chance to sit around the table with some loved ones and some friends and stuff this year. So we're wishing that for you as well. Hey, smiling Billy. Billy's got I think this is a new picture of Billy. Billy's got the best backdrops. Although my flag is pretty cool, but I think Billy's got just always, he really pops out of the picture. Billy, man, we're talking grateful. We're talking strange stories. I know you've been all over the world, so who knows what kind of traditions Billy has. I'm staring at a picture of Billy here, real close to the screen. So, Billy, what do you got for us, my man?
Yo, what's up, Dominic, Tom, everybody? Happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. Man, funnily enough, I don't really have any traditions. My wife and I were talking about this because we get a little 4-year-old dude, and we're like, what should we do? We should do something, especially this year because the in-laws aren't coming in to town as they normally do. Which maybe I'm thankful for that on some levels. I'll miss them on some levels, but some levels I'm like, yeah, let's go. But yeah, so we're working on it. But I did just go through and get a cup of coffee and from a local spot, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna be open from 8 to 1 tomorrow." And I was like, "Really? Maybe we should all get the locals together and come down and have a cup of coffee together and kind of do that thing." So. A lot of young people, no families around, so it's might be a cool thing to get together with some friends and create some traditions. Now, when I was in college, we did have a tradition where and it was actually a family that we all hung out with. Their tradition was to all go play flag football on Thanksgiving morning before everyone cooked and all that stuff. So like really early, like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, go play a game of football. So that was pretty cool. And then just sit around and get fat on turkey and get into sleep like a little food coma. But yeah, man, that's it. We're just hanging out, kind of relaxed holiday for us this year, and then with just thankful for everybody, man. Thankful for friends, business, opportunities. All the sacrifice that's been made for us to get to do the things we do every day is pretty amazing. So we're enjoying it, and I'm actually blasting through another drive-through to get my son some smoothies. So I'll talk to you guys in a second.
Billy, man, nice guy, getting smoothies for everybody and having coffee with the friends. You bring up something important, Billy, that I don't, sorry if I'm in a sappy mood today, guys, but there's so many people alone over the holidays that don't have family around and things like that. If you can reach out, if you can have a cup of coffee with them, if you can invite them over, if you can go visit them. I met a gentleman yesterday. I dropped something off at his house, and all of a sudden, and I had not met this gentleman before, all of a sudden his caregiver invited me into his house, and we're in the middle of nowhere, and the caregiver invites me in, and I'm like, okay. She's like, you want to go meet this gentleman? And I'm like, oh, sure. So I went back through a door, and my wife was in the car, went through another door, and this gentleman was bedridden at his home. And the sweetest guy, and like the smile on his face warmed my soul, and I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave his house. Like I sit down on his bed and was talking to him, and the light that came out of him, and I'm just thinking, like, Billy reminds me of all these people, like my Uncle Tommy, who lives alone in Missouri. Hey, if anybody's in Missouri, hang out with Uncle Tommy, and he comes for the holidays, sometimes Christmas and stuff like that. But if you can have that cup of coffee, like Billy's saying, reach out with some people, give them a little Thanksgiving love as well. So appreciate you reminding us what the holidays all about, Billy. So thanks, man. Appreciate you. All right, Tom, let's see here. We're moving along. Not the smartest guys in the room. Tom, we have said we're not closing it yet, but we're closing this room at 10:30 sharp today. Not because we don't want to hang out with you for hours and hours and hours, but we just thought, hey, we appreciate everybody that came through this room. We're going to give you time to meet more family, call you to action, hang out with your family, make more calls, whatever. So be grateful for all those things you have. Cynthia, what's going on with you today? Any strange Thanksgiving holidays, unique traditions, and anything that you want to share that you're grateful for? Eden, Empowered Podcasting, Friday evening co-host. Okay. What's going on, Cynthia?
My holidays aren't like y'all's at all. Since I'm Native, we don't celebrate the Thanksgiving like you do because it was not a very thankful time. But some of our traditions, we do a Thanksgiving Day every month in my home. And this month, our Thanksgiving Day was last week. And we have a multitude of different backgrounds. Like my son-in-law, I have one son-in-law that is Filipino. So he brings Filipino dishes to our gatherings. My girls and I supply the native fare. And my one son is Black, and he brings in the Southern slave fare. And my Caucasian sons will, one of them will bring turkey, one will bring ham, and the other one this year brought mashed potatoes, green beans, and corn. So, and then we talk about and teach the young kids why we don't celebrate Thanksgiving like they're taught in school. So I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but that's mine, and I own it.
No, Cynthia, this is a place where we learn and talk about all sides of things. We were talking. I was in a room the other day, and we had a lovely conversation about John Day. Remember the other day we were in that room. We were talking about grit with my dear friend Brian, and we had a conversation where one you might say like where you might think one generation is grittier than the other, and then John Day said, "Well, I can't say that. Maybe this," and then we had a conversation on why another generation that somebody else thought wasn't gritty, maybe they had more grit. So your thoughts on Thanksgiving on, hey, at least we should, to even have a holiday to learn the other side, it's important. I always tell my kids, I try to have arguments with my children. I got a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. And I will say to them, when my son's, boisterous about whatever he's boisterous about, I'll say, now argue the other side. And he'll say, well, I can't. Or, well, argue the other side. Then I will say to him, well, then you don't know it well enough. You don't know your side well enough if you can't argue the other side. And so we'll try to think critically about, well, why would somebody be passionate about this or this or this? And if you can understand why that the other side is passionate about then whatever they're passionate about, well, then maybe we can come to some room. Well, whether potpourri, is this potpourri a room like this, Tom, where you have everybody with all these different opinions and things? Is that potpourri?
I don't think that's potpourri.
What's that thing where a cornucopia? I think Julie uses the word
I mean,
cornucopia.
menagerie might be
What's menagerie? What's menagerie mean? I want definitions on menagerie and cornucopia.
So, I mean, menagerie is more of like a sort of a random collection of different things. So it's like sort of a group that doesn't necessarily make sense, or like a grouping of sort of randomly gathered things is like
I
sort
like
of a
that.
menagerie, or like it's also I think it was also used to describe I think like sort of circus or carnival kind of groups or troops where they would have people with like a variety of very disparate like sort of talents or performances. I'm going to double check myself on that because I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's like sort of the common usage is sort of randomly associated things. And I think the historical usage is like, a group of people with like disparate sort of talents all like kind of traveling or gathered together. But I'll double check myself. And cornucopia is God, I don't know how to define it. I know what it is, like I know how to use it, but I'm struggling for a definition. So
Dr. Tachi might have something. She's
there you
flashing.
go, Dr. Tachi, go for
Isn't
it.
cornucopia like abundance, like an abundance of things?
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of trying to think of, like how to describe. It's like my plate runneth over. It's like you have an abundance of things. That's a great way to put it. I just couldn't think of the words, but I think Dr. Tachi nailed it.
Because the other word for a cornucopia is horn of plenty.
We look at this. The title room, not the smartest guys in the room. Tom sounded pretty smart, but then Dr. Tachi landed us on the meeting. So we are proven not the smartest guys in the room. Although I will
So
say, and some
I've got the definition of menagerie in front of me. I just pulled it up, and it is a strange or diverse collection of people or things. So I
you
was
get it.
good.
Tom
And
got
also,
fist bumps out of me when I see that, because that is what my goal in life is to hang out with a menagerie. Then, so go on, Tom.
yeah, and then also used to describe what I was thinking of, like the carnival thing. I was a little bit off on that. A collection of wild animals kept in captivity for exhibition. So a menagerie would be like, a tiger and a bear and a chimpanzee and whatever, like a traveling, kind of show of wild animals kept for exhibition. So that's a menagerie. But yeah, I would say we've got a menagerie of as in a diverse collection of people here in this space, and I'll wear that. I'll wear that with pride. I'll say I'm part of the menagerie.
That's such a cool term. I'm gonna start hashtagging like media menagerie once I learn how to spell menagerie. It looks like a tough word to spell. I wrote it down here. I'm gonna tell you what I wrote down. So anybody in the comments, if you want menagerie, I said MANICHERY. I know that's not right, but it. So anyway, go on. Okay, not the smartest guys in the room. We have a club, so join if you can. Check out the club. Sometimes we talk more media than we're talking today, but hey, it's Thanksgiving, and like Tom said, let's talk about things we're grateful for in Thanksgiving. We got Detective. Julie was vouching for Detective. I don't know that I've met Detective Chris Anderson. Maybe I have. Host of Reasonable Doubt, Investigation Discovery, retired homicide investigator in Birmingham. Interesting. So, Detective, unique Thanksgiving traditions and grateful. Let's hear it, my friend.
Hey, good morning. I jumped up on stage because my dear friend Julia invited me to, but I was really just sitting back and enjoying the conversations. Like you said, my name is Detective Chris Anderson, and I am the host of Discovery Plus's Investigation Discoveries Reasonable Doubt, along with my partner Fatima Silva. I have a good few of my good friends in the room, John and well, John and Julie, of course. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I got everybody's name. I didn't want to start yelling off names. So anyway, funny traditions. And I don't know if this is a funny tradition. I grew up in a very extremely large family. My father was a son of a woman who had 8 kids, and all of those 8 kids all had a minimum of 3 or 4 children a piece. So every Thanksgiving we would always get together, and you know, outside of the 20 times per year we would all spend together at each other's houses, all 30 of us, we would all. But during Thanksgiving was that one holiday that we all would be together for the entire day, and I miss that. Because now we're all grown now, we're all in our 50s, and we don't do as much as we used to. So I think that this year, seeing that, we all up in age, I think this year will be one of the first years that we've all got together. So we're all planning a huge gathering back at at our family home, and we'll all get together. So I think that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for the gathering. I'm thankful for the connections that I made this year. I'm thankful for those doors that have been closed and the new doors that are opening, because I'm a strong believer that once God closes a door on you, we sometimes think that it's as punishment. But every time God has closed the door on me, He's always been preparing me for a much larger door. So I'm thankful for the doors that have been closed, and I'm thankful for the doors that are being opened for me, and I'm ready to receive it. And that's all I have. Thank you. Y'all have a great Thanksgiving.
Detective, thank you for being here, man. And I love this. I wrote that down. Thankful for the closed doors. We had mentioned earlier we were talking about the perspective of, like, people can talk about the negative things of social media, or and here, what about the good things? And you saying the closed doors. Imagine those times that were toughest, the times that were darkest. And they say it's always darkest before dawn. And here's Detective saying to be thankful for those moments when things were toughest because they opened new doors. So, hey, man, thank you for sharing that. So we appreciate it. Pamela, unique traditions, grateful, go on. My segue was bad there, Tom, but go on.
I'm not going to blame it on you. No, I was going to see if maybe hearing her voice or hearing her name from a different voice helped. Pamela, you're up. Family traditions, things you're grateful for. What do you got? What do you got? Going once. Going twice. I think we're going to have to move on, Dom.
All right, we got to do what we got to do. Okay, we are hitting to, so we're going jumping around here. Jason, 7-2, the architect. Family traditions, grateful. Come on, my friend. What do you got for us?
I'm grateful for my obstacles. Honestly, I just spent a lot of time this morning in study. And what I was essentially reading in Stoicism today, a lot of people overlook that their obstacles are their greatest teachers. And I lately have been on a mission to like eliminating my complaining for the week. That was my whole goal this week, starting from Monday, not to complain about not one person, not one objective, not one movement, or anyone else's behavior. And as I did this, it gave me a sense of peace because I let the people that are distracting pass through, kind of like, you're waiting for a subway train to come up and pick you up. Well, they get on different trains and so do I. So it was basically really looking at not complaining about Clubhouse, not complaining or looking at or comparing myself to anyone else, but looking about how I can compare myself to the last few moments and regiments of things. So if you're not looking at your obstacles as your greatest shapers and shifters and that elevate you into a new place of life, then you're always going to look and you're going to complain or you're going to say something bad, and you're never going to see the light of everything that you've accomplished in today. So my gratitude is for my obstacles.
That was awesome. Such a good share.
Thanks for sharing that. Dom, are you having trouble finding your mute button, or what's going on there, buddy? Oh, you're still
He's
muted.
on the
You're
phone.
muted. Uh-oh. Maybe he
There
you
we
go.
go. Am I back? Somebody's how dare
Yeah.
somebody call me right in the middle of this clubhouse?
That is absurd and ridiculous. I am not thankful for that.
The app's gone wrong. I need to mute all calls during Clubhouse or figure out how to do that. Hey, Kevin, I wanted to tell you, my dad, he's 80 years old and still works 6 days a week minimum, sometimes in the winter more. Never complained. He's a landscaper. And like, I remember growing up, never complained that it was hot, never complained because people didn't pay, never complained because he would work till 7 o'clock at night. And I'd be out there when I worked landscaping for him. I'd complain about the weather. I'd complain that it was hot. I'd complain about when it was cold. And I remember one time I'm complaining about something, and he would say, I'd say, it's hot. And he'd say, hot is when it's 90 degrees on Friday and you can't pay your effing bills. And so sometimes he would give me a check on perspective that I think now I have learned over the course of my years. He used to tell me he had 9 brothers and sisters that lived. A couple of them had passed away early, and they all lived in a pretty much one-room house. And he used to have to sit down for dinner after his brothers and sisters ate at the same plate. He would sit down and eat like their leftovers and stuff like that. And you wonder perspective, like you and Detective were talking about. Well, when you've been there, when you've seen these other things, all of a sudden you can be grateful for a lot more things. So thank you for sharing that, Kevin. We are on to, I believe, Tom, we are on to meet our friend Freddie. Freddie, what do you got for us? Unique traditions, gratefulness, or something weird like in Julie's house where they make her sing and dance before she gets to eat turkey.
Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, Tom, and everybody here in the room. I feel that I have like a menagerie of feelings in regards to this subject because um, I was born and raised in Colombia, and I've been here in the States for 40 years. But in Colombia, the people, normal families, not my family, I come from a very, very dysfunctional family, but normal families, they usually are grateful and give thanks to everything for on Christmas. But in my family it was never. But when I came here to the States, the very first Thanksgiving Day was very touchy for me. Touchy for me. I was very surprised and at the same time very grateful. And now I feel after 40 years, I'm very grateful for all those things. So many people, so many traditions, so many, as Latinos, when I came here as Latinos, we get together with Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Colombians, and we have these friends, and then we have Caucasian friends and everything. So there's a mixtures of beliefs and traditions, and we kind of put a little bit together, kind of what Cynthia was sharing about what she does with her, in her family. And right now at this moment I feel grateful. It's funny because I think I had been here for about 10 years, and we always find excuses in our culture. We always find excuses to dance, to celebrate, to drink. And, so Thanksgiving Day is one of those days where we do celebrate in a way with, turkey and different dishes from different countries and everything, but also just dance and celebrate. And I remember about after it was like about 20, 30 years ago that we went to we were having our party, and a friend of ours came over and she had contact lenses. Well, she put those contact lenses, took them off, and put them in some water or something on a glass. And I went over to, and I was gonna have a drink like a Cuba Libre, like rum with Coke and lemon inside. So I just went looking for a glass, and I went and got that one and put my Coke there and my drink, and I drank and I had drank the contact lenses. We never found out until the next day when she was looking for them, and I said, well, I had it was a glass right here. So after that, everybody who were at that party, they kind of they make all these nasty jokes about about the contact lenses and that I had them. But that's a good memory about that. And then and right now I feel grateful for everything, for coming to this country, for getting to know so many traditions, so many people, for being the person that I am right now, and for having all those obstacles. Like, it was great what you shared, 72, the architect, like it is great to be able to get to a point in life now. I don't know, because I'm 60 now, that I see all these obstacles as opportunities to grow and to I read a book that is called The Obstacle is the Way. And I have tried that myself. Like, it's just only through the going through the obstacles is what makes us grow. I just got a surgery. Was diagnosed about a few months ago with prostate cancer, and as soon as I learned about it, I said, "Well, thank God is in the beginning stages. Thank God there is solution for this. Thank God that this is happening." So I was grateful for it, and that it was something, a learning behind that. Now I'm recuperating. I'm fine. I have my surgery. I'm recuperating. I'm doing well, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for this room. I'm grateful for these kind of conversations, and I'm grateful for life, everything. Thank you. Thank you all for this opportunity to come over and share with you. And God bless you all. Thank you.
Freddie, great share and great story about the contacts as well. I'm sure your vision is probably twice as impressive now that you have contacts implanted in your body. So very, very impressive, and glad to have you here as well. So, all right, Tom, we are going to meet Joyce and Elsie, and then Tom is going to give us a grateful for each of you. Thank you so much for being here each week. We appreciate you. And I would leave you on this Thanksgiving. This big blue ball that we're on is a good place. People, there are bad things that happen on this big blue ball. There's bad people on this big blue ball. But overall, this big blue ball that we're on is a great place. Let's treat it good, let's respect it, and let's believe that there is good out there and be grateful for every second that we're on it because we only get one go around on it. So appreciate every second. Two and a one, and we are out of here, and we'll see you soon. Happy Thanksgiving.